Right now at 6, dozens of families facing eviction.
We own our own homes, but we do not own our land.
How they're working to find strength in numbers in order to stay put.
Plus, the governor's signature bill gets a hearing in Salem.
A lot of things have happened over the last 2 decades to bring us here, but I know we can solve it.
What's in her plan to chip away at the state's housing shortage? And later,
I had to get glasses on it for it to be fixed, and look what I'm wearing now.
The nonprofit that's giving kids the gift of clear sight and confidence. Good evening, everyone. We begin at 6 with dozens of families at a Gladstone mobile home park facing eviction after learning they say their landlord is looking to sell the land out from underneath them. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. I'm David Molko.
And I'm China Green. The residents of the Tri-City Mobile Home Court are not giving up. Instead, they're trying to buy the property for themselves. Evan Watson joins us live from Gladstone. Evan, is this likely to happen?
Well, China, very well could. We talk a lot about affordable housing, right? And as mentioned, Governor Kotek and lawmakers are debating spending $500 million on expanding affordable housing options across the state just in this session. Well, the residents here at this mobile home park say, hey, we have affordable housing here that works. What they need is security and stability. The mobile homes at the Tri-City Court in Gladstone are more mobile in name than in practice. Some families have lived here for decades. Their kids grew up here, graduating just blocks away. So when a letter arrived saying the park owners are looking to sell, it brought fear with it. New owners could significantly raise rents or force people out for new development.
Everybody just feel lost. We fear of being homeless, and nobody can afford to get any other place.
Maria Orozco stepped up, translating the letter to the 60% of park residents who speak Spanish.
Every single time I go to sleep, I have those families in my heart and thinking, what are we going to do?
We own our own homes, but we do not own our land.
And that, in its essence, is the problem here.
That is the problem, because my place, it would take at least $10,000 to pick it up and move. And if I was to pick it up and move it, would it stay together? And where am I going to move it to?
By Oregon law, an intent to sell gives these residents an opportunity. They could come together and form a cooperative to buy the property, get funding, and make a competitive offer. Starting with an outdoors meeting during the ice storm, that's what they decided to do.
It would ensure that I don't have to worry about where I'm going to live the rest of my life, that I can live comfortably where I'm at.
A co-op is no new idea. Just down the street, residents at a neighboring mobile home park formed a co-op in 2019. New roads and improvements quickly followed. Same with housing stability.
Hopefully, we get the same. We'll be able to celebrate it one day and say we own it.
The Tri-City families contacted CASA, Community and Shelter Assistance, a nonprofit that has helped preserve 26 parks throughout Oregon since 2009.
We believe that through our program that residents are able to stabilize their housing costs. And there's a lot of self-determination in this effort as well.
Rose Ojeda says there are still legal questions. Is this sale moving forward, and are residents really able to make an offer? She and lawyers are working that out.
I think homeowners in manufactured dwelling parks remain vulnerable to park closures. And I think we're all in agreement that we do not want to add to our homelessness crisis here in Oregon.
But this experience, Maria says, has united the community.
And this is our home. We don't need another home. This is our homes.
Yeah, it is really hard to argue with that sentiment there. Evan, what are the park's owners saying about all this?
David, that's a great question, something we're looking to learn more at the moment. Now, starting yesterday morning, I've called, emailed, checked in with attorneys, all those different avenues to try to get some comment and some better information about what they're looking to do with the sale here, but I've yet to hear anything back from the ownership group. However, the residents here feel as in solidarity as ever, and they really feel that this whole experience has taught them to come together and look for a solution of their own to maybe have that security long-term for the future.
Evan Watson trying to get answers in Gladstone tonight. Thank you, Evan. Let's get to your headlines now. Portland police have one person in custody after a standoff in the Lentz neighborhood. Details, by the way, still coming in on this. Police say they got a call this morning about a possible shooting at a home on Southeast 100th near Yukon and Henry Streets. Officers say they tried to contact a potential suspect inside who may have had a gun, but the man, they say, did not cooperate. Eventually, they took one person into custody. It's unclear if they were armed, if anyone got hurt, or if there are any charges. We are working to learn more. We will update you when that happens.
Tonight, Clackamas County deputies are looking for the suspects who shot a man in a carjacking attempt overnight. It happened just before 1 a.m. at a 76 gas station on Southeast Sunnyside Road and 122nd Avenue. The victim, a 22-year-old man, told deputies 3 people tried to steal his car, and when he resisted, one of them shot him. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. So far, there's no description of the suspects or their vehicle, but call Clackamas County Sheriff if you know anything.
In Lane County, 2 Portland teens are behind bars accused of shooting in a school parking lot. This happened yesterday afternoon at Willa Gillespie Elementary. Bullets hit several cars while some students and staff were still on campus, but no one was hurt. The suspects led police on a brief chase before crashing into a creek. The driver, 19-year-old Alexander Mullins, and a 17-year-old, both from Portland, were arrested, along with a 20-year-old Eugene man.
Clark County authorities say DNA evidence helped them solve an almost year-old case. It started last February at a gas station in Hazeldale. Deputies say the suspect tried to carjack a man while he was putting air in his tires. The two fought and eventually the suspect ran off. However, they did leave behind some clothing at a gas station. And through DNA analysis, police say they were able to identify Jeffrey Bull as a suspect. He was arrested late last month and now faces charges.
Really interesting there. And the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office says it has disposed of more than 100 derelict boats since launching a pilot take-back program last summer. It's partnered with Metro and the State Marine Board. Altogether, 107 watercraft have been removed and destroyed. State lawmakers set aside $250,000 for this program in 2022, allowing boat owners to turn in their vessels at no cost. Ashley?
David, China, rather rainy, cloudy day. Here's a live look outside right now from our Chinook Winds camera in Lincoln City, about 49 degrees and not too much in the way of wind, but we are going to see those scattered showers start to come back. And what I'm excited about, though, look at this sunset tracker. We're going to start to see more sun nearly every day. So that sunset already happening today at about 5:27. But you can see about every week we get about 10 more minutes of sunshine. So we're getting closer to those days when we'll have bright evening hours. Can't wait. But here's some of that rain that we saw in the last 6 hours. This is our radar, and you can even see some of those showers pushing into the Oregon Cascades. And yep, that's bringing us some snow. Just a few inches of new snow today on Timberline. But where are we going next? Well, these showers going to stick with us into tomorrow morning. It's going to be a wet commute. We'll talk more about that in your 7-day forecast coming up.
Love the sunset tracker, though. Thank you, Ashley. Affordable housing taking center stage today in Salem as lawmakers gave the housing production bill its first public hearing.
And Tim Gordon is here to break it all down for us. Tim.
Yeah, China, David, this is Governor Tina Kotek's top priority for the session. So she was there to testify in favor of Senate Bill 1537, along with dozens of others supporting it. Kotek says the $500 million bill is the result of a lot of work and collaboration to create housing for Oregonians who just can't afford it. The bill includes $200 million toward housing infrastructure, $200 million toward financing moderate income housing, with more money for site acquisitions, local planning, accountability, and other items. The governor told the Senate Committee on Housing and Development the state must fix its housing crisis.
This is affecting our economy. It's affecting the health of our communities. And we are seeing the ultimate result of not enough housing that is affordable, and that is our homelessness crisis. A lot of things have happened over the last 2 decades to bring us here, but I know we can solve it.
Now, the governor's office has said Oregon needs to build nearly 500,000 units in the next 20 years to keep up with demand. So she is really pushing for this bill to become law. She says she's prepared for lawmakers to possibly make some changes, amendments before they vote, but she wants it passed.
Sam, thank you for breaking down Senate Bill 1537 for us there. TriMet is throwing its support behind a measure that would stiffen criminal penalties for illegal drug use on public transit. The Oregon Transit Association and a union representing transit workers are pushing a bill that would make drug use on buses, trains, and at transit stations a Class A misdemeanor. A conviction would be punishable up to a year in jail, a $6,000 fine, or both. TriMet says it needs help of police to keep illegal drug use off transit to protect riders and employees.
If we want to have economic recovery, vitality in the city again, to accomplish all of the climate action goals in the region, we need our ridership to return. And this is another tool to ensure that people feel safe on transit.
The proposal would also make drug use on transit a drug-designated misdemeanor, which would open access to state-funded treatment in many cases. And coming up tonight on The Story, a look into a self-proclaimed spiritual guru who ran a yoga and meditation center in the Kearns neighborhood for decades and allegedly abused women for years.
Yeah, some of those women are now suing him. A warning, some of the details in the story are disturbing. Thomas Schultz joins us in the newsroom with a preview. Thomas.
David, China, several women told us that J. Michael Shoemaker sexually assaulted and in some cases raped them. Shoemaker also goes by the name Swami Chetananda, and for years he led a yoga and meditation center called the Movement Center in Portland's Kearns neighborhood. Dozens of people lived in the Anna Mann mansion with him, and former members say the center operated more like a cult. For decades, Shoemaker allegedly recruited young women into the organization. Some he would love bomb, a term psychologists use to describe a showering of attention, usually with the intent to manipulate a person. And several women say after being love bombed, they were then assaulted by Shoemaker. Now, this past summer, a lawsuit was filed against him. One woman who goes by the initials GM alleges she was groomed, trafficked, and repeatedly sexually assaulted by Shoemaker. Another, who goes by DT, claims Shoemaker recruited and trafficked young women for decades. Now, Shoemaker has never been criminally charged, and he declined our interview request, though his lawyer says he'll explain at trial how those relationships were consensual. Still, we spoke to women who say they were raped by Shoemaker, dating back as far as 50 years ago. Some say they didn't realize their experience in the Movement Center was common, and they only later found out they were victims of a system that's gone on for decades.
The fact that there are other victims now who have come forward gives me the strength today to tell my story.
And we'll tell you Ruth Graham and other victims' stories, and tell you too at 6:30 where the Movement Center set up shop after leaving Portland a few years ago. All that coming up tonight on The Story. David.
Thank you, Thomas. I know you've been working hard on this for months. We appreciate it. You're watching KGW News. Straight ahead at 6, a celebration worth seeing. We meet the local elementary school students getting their first pair of glasses.